Hello and welcome to Star Calls, the Disney Roundtable. My name's David Turner and I'm here with James Farley.
Hello.
Also joining us, like the last two roundtables, is Sean Bell.
Alright.
And Matt Muzzer.
Yo.
You alright? How you doing, boys?
Awesome. I'm looking forward to
Star
this.
Calls is back. A few weeks off. But now we've got a recap of all the Disney films. You've heard what I've thought of them. You've heard what James thought of them. What did you guys think of them?
I mean, how should we do this? Should we just go in release order, Matt? Or...
Yeah, let's do that.
Let's
go for it. Right, I'll say the films and then you just give a quick summary because we've got a lot of emails and tweets to get through. So let's do this. Right, okay. Cool. The Force Awakens.
I absolutely adored it. Like, as well as just being brilliant in its own right, it was just like this. It was, it's like what you imagine everyone wanted from The Phantom Menace, right? It was the fucking return of Star Wars, like, and just because Disney had said like, oh yeah, we're going to like do one every year. It was like, is it going to be a bit stale and rubbish? And but actually, it was like, yep, one of these every year, please, thank you. That'll do fine. So yeah, I really loved Force Awakens. Yeah.
Are you saying, hang on, Sean, are you saying that Phantom Menace didn't do that for you?
Yes.
Okay.
God, I wonder if anyone did watch The Phantom Menace and was just like, a fucking amazing.
This is the best thing ever!
So happy.
I bet it is. It must have been.
The Star Wars I know and love has returned.
Yeah, it's probably
I wonder if those people then went on to slag off The Last Jedi. Do you know what I mean?
You might be on to it there, Dave.
Yeah, there are definitely people out there that thinks there's one of the prequels, at least one of the prequels is better than The Last Jedi.
Oh, definitely. There will definitely be people who love that. So it's one of the best ones of all time.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Shocking.
What was that? Sorry,
Matt?
was one of you about to say something now? Or
No, Matt?
yeah,
what
Force Awakens
was
amazing. Obviously, I was gutted about the prequels. Very, very nervous about this, but I liked Abrams anyway. Trailers look good, and I thought it was amazing. I saw that 3 times at cinema. I still remember that the first night after I saw it on the, at the cinema, I rang James, and I wasn't emotional in the car on that call on the way home, but I was like,
he, James?
I was like that. You know what? They did it.
Did he cry, James?
They actually did it. Was I crying, James?
There was like mild weeping.
I think we both were. We both were. Like,
I mean, that is true. Yeah, we were at the same time.
We're both like they did it. Like neither of us could believe it. We were both a bit speechless, but like, they did it. It was a fantastic Star Wars film. God of all the shit we had to deal with in the prequels, like that fight with Rey and Kylo Ren in like the forest was unbelievable. I mean, I got sort of like rush of adrenaline from my body watching that. I was like, it looked so cool. It's just like Rey was amazing.
I still like even rewatching it now. I still get emotional when she grabs the lightsaber.
Oh, it's that moment is just fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
I was like punching in the air, like, come on, Ray, it's so good. And I thought Kylo Ren was a class character, and we'll obviously discuss him a bit later. But no, I thought the film was amazing, and I absolutely loved it.
Rogue One.
Yeah,
good.
I mean,
go on, Matt. You go first.
Ooh, well, yeah. So I thought
Listen
it was
to the change in mood.
Yeah, I thought it was good. It was obviously nowhere near as good as Force Awakens, but I felt like it felt quite boring to me. I've rewatched it a second time, and it's fine. But it's just not a lot really seems to happen, and there wasn't any massively memorable sections for me. It was like, oh, cool, I like the fact they're doing side stories. I like the fact it's like one and done, all contained in one film, but it was nothing like as good as Force Awakens. And I just felt like the characters weren't memorable enough, and the film wasn't memorable enough for me, really. So
I remember the characters, but I couldn't name any of them. I'll give you that. I
must admit, I remember thinking I really want to watch this film again because I was totally thrown by the change in tone and everything.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, nothing is massively sticking out in my head about that film, I must admit.
I also thought it was going to be a totally different vibe because, all the idea beforehand, it's a war story. It's like it's like a heist movie. It's all sorts of stuff. But I was like, I don't know, none of it really felt that different to me.
I thought that that worked. Like, it felt like more like a war film because it's quite miserable, right? Whereas Star Wars is generally like it's exciting and there's bits of humor and all. Typical Star Wars film is more like a swashbuckler than anything else.
Yeah,
Whereas
I guess I thought it was going to be a bit more gritty than it was, or something. So okay, this is in the Star Wars universe, but it's like okay, this is a different vibe, and it wasn't really different enough, and it wasn't really memorable enough for me. It was fine. I think at the time I was like, yeah, it's fine, but it's nothing more than that for me.
Yeah, and I'm certainly not complaining. I'm more than happy for these sort of off year films to be like a bit different. And the fucking bit with Darth Vader at the end, Jesus Christ!
Like, oh yeah, God, it was so good. That was
excellent.
Bit.
And then also the other bit that we noticed with with like that Death Star like appearing like over the planet.
Oh God, that was fucking brilliant. Yeah.
That was brilliant.
Yeah, but that was only like 5 seconds in.
Wasn't it?
I mean, it's possible I'm being unfair because it's the only one that I've only seen once. Like maybe it's just that I've not put the time in like I have with the others. But
it was actually because I think like maybe like 2 months ago or so, like ITV2 were showing what seemingly all the Star Wars films again, and that was on one Sunday. I was like, I'll watch this. It was obviously like Star Wars had started by that point, and I was like, yeah, it's still fine. Even the second time, I didn't think of it differently, which is I thought I maybe would, but so that one did not blow me away at all.
The Last Jedi
might be my favourite Star Wars film.
Oh really?
Yeah,
I won't go that far.
Okay, well,
I
said might.
It was good.
It
was good.
It was. I know I alluded to this on the last roundtable, but it was So when I first saw it, I had a lot of the complaints that a lot of people did, like, what do you mean Rey's parents are nobody, and why did Snoke just get killed straight away? And then it was, as you've already discussed, it just clicked that it was saying like, no, stop obsessing over this shit. Okay, like maybe it's not the best film, but it felt like the one that's had the most to say. So yeah, I really love The Last Jedi.
Yeah, I'd agree. I'd say, as I said on the call, the message at the end of it was so much more important than anything else said in Star Wars. That I really took that away.
Yeah.
Go on, Matt.
Yeah, I thought it was excellent. I don't think it was as good as Force Awakens. I think that's slightly better, but I thought it was excellent. Like the issues with like the parents thing, I just thought, well, like just don't believe what Kylo Ren says. I'm still not even taking that as
he doesn't say it though.
I don't know, but no, he does. He like when them two have the fight.
She says it.
No. Them two have the fight in the throne room, and he's like, "Your parents were nothing." They're just like he says your parents are nothing. You are nothing. So you might as well join me. And I was what happens is he says, you know who your parents are. Yeah. You know who your parents are. He said, just say it. And then she was struggling to say it. And he said, they were nobodies. They were just like, so she knew that they were nobodies. So it wasn't like he was going, I'm going to reveal about your parents now, like Obi-Wan did, and then just lied and then said, well, actually, I wasn't lying from a certain point of view. It was actually, I was telling the truth if you believe this fucking bullshit excuse I'm giving you. But anyway. I thought that fight in the throne room was stunning. I thought it had loads of really amazing moments.
Fucking cracking,
I thought it was a really fantastic film. It wasn't quite up there with Force Awakens, but it was still absolutely class. I think Kylo Ren's just a brilliant character. I can't wait to see I think Adam Driver's brilliant, and I can't wait to see what things are going to pan out in Episode 9.
They can't go back on that her parents are nobody thing.
They
right?
can, and they
will.
Apparently they will.
Definitely. Definitely. Why are we believing what Kylo Ren says? Like, she didn't quite get the words out. You don't know what she's going to say. She might say, well, I don't know, or I don't want to talk about it.
On top of that, you've got people interpreting the vision she has, underneath the, in the cave.
Yeah, with all the
it's an endless line of Rey. So it's like, maybe she's a clone.
Exactly. Yeah, I've read them theories. I wouldn't believe just what he's clearly like he doesn't really know who he is himself, so I wouldn't.
It's heavily implied that she knows what he's saying is true. Very heavily implied.
Yeah, but
that was also, the whole point.
The thing is also, right, we got two different directors between these two films who are going in completely different directions from each other.
Do you think that was a mistake?
I don't know. I mean, I think Rian Johnson was good. Like, I was quite happy with that. But then I think going back to J.J. Abrams is probably not a great idea, actually.
I would say the opposite. I'm really glad they are going back. I mean, well, why would you say that's a bad thing? I mean, Force Awakens was great.
Yeah, it was, and it set up loads of things that were then ignored in, like, in the following film. And I mean, one of the things that J.J. Abrams is very good at is coming up with all these ideas and stuff, but he's not that great at finishing stuff.
Which is why lens flare effects, but that as well for sure.
And that's why this is a bit. I mean, also because I'm sure that they're gonna do something to sort of address the backlash from The Last Jedi, and I reckon that this is going to be a very, very standard Star Wars film. Which
I think, that was like if it was J.J. Abrams throughout, I think we'd have had a very safe trilogy. But I mean, it might still end that way. But like, The Last Jedi just felt like it was it was a comment on the fact that so much discourse around films now is here's 30 things you didn't notice when you watched the film. Oh, here's a theory based on all these tiny bits. Like people just like way over analysing things, and The Last Jedi was just like, no, fuck you.
Yeah, which was great, but then
stop it.
They're definitely he's going to go back on that, and it's going to be a shame because it will kind of ruin a bit of the message of what The Last Jedi was. And
It's funny because it's one of the ones that you complained about most, actually, James.
True.
When you think back, apart from the prequels, obviously, but you did complain a lot about that film, like the plot and the direction, and
there are bits of it that make no sense.
There's a lot of it that doesn't make any sense, and there's things that I didn't like about it, but the overall message I thought was fantastic, and I'm sure I said that on the call as well. It was,
you did,
yeah. Overall, I really liked it.
Punch in the air when you did
it. But no, I thought it was excellent, and it gets me pumped for the next episode.
Solo.
I fucking love Solo, and really? I don't care who knows it. I think it's great.
Did you understand the plot?
Did you get the twist? How could you not understand it? I'm still blown away by this. It's just.
I'll be honest, Dave. I was quite angry listening to it.
I mean, I first I thought it was a joke. I was like, you can't actually be serious with this.
I need to explain something. Okay.
All right.
So if you remember, you listen back to the call, I'm completely baffled. Like. But I was even looking back and saying, why am I so sure? Why was I so sure this was set before the Empire was formed? I'm freaking out, right? So here's what happened. This isn't a total excuse. I still fucked up. This isn't an excuse at all, really, but this is what happened. And you guys know this, but I guess we all forgot. Like after the episode came out. The night before I watched it, I've got an Android television. I turned it on, and sometimes it goes to the home menu to start with, right? And I turned it on the night before watching Solo. And on the top left, there's a big panel that shows you a recommended video on YouTube. My recommended video was Darth Maul at the end of Solo, explained. And I was like, all right, okay, so Darth Maul's in this then. That's a bit disappointing that I found that out. And I mean, technically, I knew that anyway because I was on a podcast and we were talking about Star Calls, and they accidentally let it slip that Darth Maul is in one of the later films, right? But I can't remember. I totally forgot that had been revealed to me, and totally forgot don't even think they mentioned what film he was in. So by the time I got to Solo, I wasn't even thinking about that. So this flashed up on the screen. So in my head, it's set before Episode 1 because we see him die in Episode 1, right? So when it started, my brain wasn't going, well, why is Han Solo why wasn't he like a kid then, if this is set before Episode 1? Or, like, how is he existing? What is going on? And I think I was so fucking baffled because I went into this placing it before Episode 1 that for the first half an hour of the film, I am just not even focusing on what's being said. Like, I'm seeing stormtroopers and going, they don't exist yet. What is going on here?
I mean, I sympathise because I've had, not through being given, like, weird information or whatever, but just, sometimes when you're watching something and for whatever reason, your brain is just latching onto the wrong question. It's just something you're not really supposed to care about. And you just overthink it and you just kind of like, it just ruins it for you. So I know the feeling.
So my brain was just not focused on what was going on. And then by the time I'd started to come around to the film, I even mentioned it in my notes, it was around the train section. So by then, the reveal of them not actually being people for the Empire was already revealed and gone. So I was just, I'm absolutely gutted.
It's just such a shame because that's such a great bit as well. When that crew are first introduced, and Woody Harrelson's character's like, all right, so who's in charge? And they look at him like, well, you are. And he's like, and he like looks down at himself like, what? And obviously in hindsight, you're like, yes, because he had no fucking idea what rank he was supposed to be. He just killed someone and took their uniform.
When does it make it obvious? What point does it make it obvious?
So a little bit later on, yeah, I can't remember. Han says something.
When they're around a campfire or something?
No, it's before they get away from the Imperial base. Like, yeah, Han makes a comment and he's like, that's not your fucking uniform. Like,
right, okay, so I totally missed that scene then.
Okay. Yeah.
I was either thinking of when the fuck this is set, like how is he fighting for the Empire when the Empire don't exist? And or something happened and maybe I looked over and I was chatting to Joe for 2 seconds or something and missed that.
Yeah.
But it really bugs me that because I think I would have enjoyed it a hell of a lot more if I wasn't questioning everything while I was...
Yeah, it's such a shame you ruined it for yourself.
It doesn't really explain the ending because I was still angry at that anyway.
Well, this was the thing when you told us that you'd seen that, I said to Matt and James separately, I said, like, shall we just tell him it's basically bullshit? Like, but then we thought, well, maybe that'll colour, your opinion of it or whatever, so we decided to leave it, whereas actually in hindsight, we totally should have just said, like, look, just forget that. It's.
I'm thinking back, every time I went to watch these films, one of the things we'd talk about is when it was set. So I wish, like, it's no fault to anyone else, but I wish I knew specifically when it was set, because I think that would have completely cleared my mind for the whole 30 minutes of the film and I could have got into it a little bit more and I wasn't so freaked out. So it's no excuse. I'm not defending my actions here. What I'm saying is I now understand why I was so fucking weirded out for the first half an hour of this film. Like, why I did not know what was going on. Yeah. And it was because of that spoiler that I saw the night before that set that concrete idea in my head that this was set before episode 1 and it totally fucking threw me.
I would recommend going back to it at some point if you can. It's not perfect
I'm
by any
watch
means.
Them all again.
Like, a lot of the criticisms, stuff Jane mentioned on the show, there's so many bits in it where it's like, oh, look, Han's been given his gun. Look, it's his gun from the Star Wars films. Do you remember? Han's gun. He's getting it. Look, oh, Chewbacca, I'll have to call you something shorter than that. Yeah, all right. I think there was a review that I forget where it was that ended with not so much a tale of how Han became the man he is, but more a tale of how he got his stuff, which is fair. Yeah. And and
that's a great line.
And and it does sort of undermine his arc in the the original trilogy in that he starts off as this sort of self-serving rogue and then sort of comes to care about the rebellion as time goes on, but actually we find out, oh no, he was already helping the rebellion out way before he met Luke or Leia or whatever. So yeah, fine, but it's just good fucking fun. And it just wound me up that so many people were like, oh, well, if you watch it, you can clearly see where they changed directors. And I'm like, can you really? Or have you just read that somewhere and you've decided you want to sound clever?
Yeah.
I thought it was an incredibly good film. I would be really interested to see the original plan for it and how it was supposed to be. Because
I don't need to know that.
No, I know. It's just because I forget their names, but it's the guys who did Lego Movie and Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, wasn't it, originally?
Oh, God, yeah. Two very highly rated films.
So, yeah, I'd be curious. But no, I still really like what we ended up with.
Yeah, me too. Oh. I went into this with incredibly low expectations. I'm thinking, look, it's never going to be as good as Harrison Ford being Han Solo. It's all new people being the characters we know of. Obviously, I love Donald Glover, so I was excited to see about Lando stuff.
It's one of the best performances I've ever seen in a film. Genuinely.
What's so funny about that is that I always forget his name. The guy who played Han. He's fine, and if it wasn't for Donald Glover, you'd be like, well, of course it's really difficult to try and take on a character like that. Of course it's not going to be exactly the same. And then you see Donald Glover being Lando, and it's like, oh no, it's possible. He fucking nails it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous how good he was in that role. It makes you feel a little bit sick because, as I say, you meet people that are sort of super fans of Donald Glover. Like and I'm not one of those people because I've only seen him in one thing. I'm not into his music or anything, so I've never really sort of fallen for him in that sort of way. But goddamn, that film was it was just like, oh my god, this is just like too good.
But yeah, it's excellent. I loved it in the end. I waited for it to Rogue One, and when this film ended, I thought I would love to see a sequel. So I would love to see another Solo movie. They could do it.
I didn't.
I'm still hoping that's going to happen.
You reckon it is?
I don't think it will, but I'm still hoping that they could. I still think there's more you could do with this. Actually.
Definitely, I mean, I love the characters, and there's so much more they could see and show and do. And I was left definitely wanting more. I thought it was an excellent film, and maybe
they just do a different story about something completely separate.
Sorry, what was that?
I'd rather them do a completely different story somewhere completely separate, like another group of Jedi's on another.
And
I don't think it needs to be one or the other. It could be like they could do both. Why not? I mean,
I guess
there's still time.
Yeah, but I left.
Where do you sit on the L3 debate?
What's that say?
Where do you sit on the L3 debate?
Oh, well, the L337.
I thought she was great.
Matt,
I thought it was fine. I mean, it wasn't as good as BB-8, but it was fine. I mean, it didn't blow me away, but it didn't annoy me either.
So I put out a poll that ran for a week on Twitter.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay. I would have voted.
It said Solo. I put Solo, a Star Wars poll for Starkles. Don't at me with she's okay, nothing special. We ain't all about that. We ain't about all that. I said pick a side. L3 was good. L3 was bad. Those were the choices. It's really interesting, actually. It's very split. So we had 95 votes. L3 was good, won it with 58%. L3 was bad with 42%. I thought it was going to be one by the other, and either James or I was going to take a lot of shit with our stance on that robot.
I mean, I thought the name was shit.
I didn't get one person.
I wasn't a fan of the name.
The name. When James told me the name, it's a bit shit.
I didn't realise that her full name was Leet. So when James mentioned that, I was like, oh shit, that is quite shit.
I thought she was great character.
I thought she was cool. It totally wasn't annoying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry, James.
All right. So before we get to your feedback, should I do my full list? I've not revealed this yet.
Oh shit. Okay. Go on. Or do you want to do it at the end after we've done the emails?
No, because I think we should do it now because we've summarised our thoughts on the films, so I can piece it all together and then we'll get to feedback. Right? This is like the centrepiece of the show. And I'm interested to see where you guys fit in with this.
Mm-hmm.
So should I go from worst to best or best to worst? Bottom to top. Okay, so in last place, I've got The Phantom Menace.
Oh, okay.
Wow, okay. I thought it would be episode 2. But...
Yeah, same.
What did you think?
I thought it would be episode 2.
Episode 2.
So at least episode 1's got pod racing and
I'd already announced that I preferred it to episode 1 though, right? On first
you had said that, but we'd agreed that you were mad. But go on.
So
sort of hoping you changed your mind.
Attack of the Clones was above that. Then Revenge of the Sith. So there's the trilogy right at the bottom there. In release order as well, actually. Then next up was Solo. I'm starting to realise that that's through no fault of its own.
Solo shouldn't even be in this list.
Return of the Jedi was next.
Okay.
Is that right? It must be because I wrote these. I did think about this a lot.
The thing is, because like you're already in the realm of like, well, they're all at least very good now, right?
So this is it. The gap between Solo and Revenge of the Sith is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Oh, of course, yeah. Return of the Jedi is of course, Return of the Jedi. I'm surprised that's above Solo, actually.
Well, I mean, yeah. When you watch Solo again, maybe see how you feel, but yeah.
Yeah, because I fucking hated the Ewoks, and it was a very long part of that
but
film.
you did understand that movie, so there's a big difference.
That's a good point.
It's far less complex movie than Solo.
I mean, yeah, but little bear things attack stormtroopers, brilliant. Rogue One next, which I think
Rogue
is
One
fair.
above Return of the Jedi. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't, but that's just me.
Yeah, no, I prefer Rogue One to Return of the Jedi, definitely. I really hate the Ewoks. Maybe I should watch... this would definitely change on repeated viewings because I reckon Return of the Jedi actually will move up because I won't be so surprised by how much I hated the Ewoks like the next time. So maybe I'll be alright with it. The Last Jedi above Rogue One, then A New Hope. I mean, now we're getting to actually really fucking quality. So saying The Last Jedi is fourth on this, like fourth from top on this list is not saying it's in any way a bad film at all, because I loved it. A New Hope above that, Empire Strikes Back above that, and top of the list was The Force Awakens. And I think
that's all right.
It's funny.
Yeah. There's a couple of things I'm moving around, but definitely Force Awakens is fantastic.
When after I finished, I looked at a lot of like sort of regular lists, and they seem to flick between A New Hope and Empire Strikes Back at the top of the list. And I think a lot of that is down to nostalgia and repeated viewings, and it being a big part of either their childhood or their growing up. You know, it's like a big part of that, right? So they've got that link. I didn't have that link to that. What I did have was The Force Awakens coming out and saying, you know, those 3 films you watched before those other 3 films, right? Look at fucking this now. Like, and that sort of made me, although the nostalgia wasn't as strong, I felt nostalgia through watching that film.
Yeah.
Like, because I hadn't watched those films over and over again, but I'd only watched them a few weeks before. So all of a sudden it was just like, it hit me like a ton of bricks that, oh, this is what it must feel like, you know, getting that excitement. Like, so the people that watched A New Hope over and over again for 3 years, and all of a sudden fucking Empire Strikes Back comes out, like, although, wonder.
You say that, they wouldn't have watched it like over and over, would they? Because of like
VHS would have come out, wouldn't it?
Well, there wasn't VHS at that time, like not in that
way. When did VHS come out then?
Wasn't that like that was 80s, wasn't it?
VHS, it must have been, yeah. There's the whole Betamax thing as well.
I'm gonna have to look this up.
Maybe you're right. So what did people do back then? Then just tell your stories.
Get it on the wireless, mate.
Sit around a campfire. Pirate.
Like probably running away from dinosaurs.
IPTV.
Yeah, it says
is that was.
Yeah, it says it was like 80s, 90s. You know, was like VHS. So yeah.
Shit. All right.
No way. They didn't have VHS in the 70s. Right. Okay. Fuck. Okay.
Well, maybe they did, but I don't think it was like, you know, like widespread.
CDs come out in the 80s, didn't they? No, that was 90s. Was it 80s? No.
Hang on, I'm just having a look. I've got here Star Wars home video releases. Here we go. 1977, it came out on Super 8 film. Like,
Super 8.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone had a Super 8.
Hammering on Super 8, yeah.
Yeah.
And then, 1979, there was the VHS and Betamax tape came out of it.
Okay.
So that's what, it would have been that, wouldn't it?
For those curious, apparently the VHS came out in 1977. Like the format itself.
Oh, no, wait a minute, though.
Oh, there you go. Come out for Star Wars. No. Launch title.
Apparently VCRs were invented in the late 1950s.
Wow, okay, right, let's get back to Star Wars.
We've got the best of physical media.
Because otherwise I'm going to get a lot of abuse.
We've found a subject more boring than the nuances of Jedi.
No. Seriously,
Jedi.
Okay. So the 1977 Super 8 stuff was not like actually the full films. It was just selected scenes from the original film.
Oh.
The first time it actually came out properly was 1982.
Wow,
and that was the first home video release.
There we go.
For 5 years.
Yeah.
1982.
I mean, okay, everyone do their list from worst to best, like physical media. So, probably cassette is probably the bottom for me.
Right, okay. Let's get on to your feedback.
Who's doing emails?
Who's going first?
Do you want to do them?
Well,
yeah, can do. Right. Have these already been?
Before we started recording, Matt went, "Oh, I did them last time, so maybe we should like sort of flick between the two of us." And this now he's just like, "Sean, do you want to do them?"
No, I think I said Sean's better at this, and I'll do tweets.
Okay,
right, fair enough. Colin Miller says, hi there, congrats again on the great show and watching all the films, with the exception of those Ewok movies and the holiday special, which I've lent to Dave, so you got no excuses really. On a serious note, I've enjoyed each episode immensely, and I really hope there'll be more offerings from you lot in the future, perhaps for The Mandalorian and Rise of Skywalker. Anyhow, I think we can all agree that John Williams' music is an integral part of the Star Wars universe. Each character has their own theme and motif, and the score for each film always intertwines these, adding a layer that cements the vast world together. To me, the score for Star Wars is just as important as the sound and visual design, and while he didn't score Rogue One and Solo, his influence undoubtedly is all over those. A question for all of you: I'd like to know which Star Wars themes are your favourites, and to make this answer more interesting, I'd like you to sing them while sing them when you answer, while the rest of the panel guess what it is.
What does it mean, sing them while we answer?
So when you answer.
Replace the words with our answer?
So we have to just sing our answer, and then everyone else has to guess. But I wouldn't know the names of like any of the pieces anyway.
No.
That's just like me going, so I would then go, I like the original. I like the original
you mean
music.
Sing the piece.
Are you mental? What's happened? This is not solo moment.
So for example, my answer would be...
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Where's David Fort saying the words in the style of the theme?
But he said while you answer.
So no, when you answer. But yeah,
but
when
I answer, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So not while I'm answering. Hey, you guys! I really like the original music from the Return of the Jedi.
I don't know which is
didn't see that version. What was that, Matt?
Oh, don't worry about
it. I
mean, Imperial March. I'm going to go with that because I don't know many because I didn't exactly use the soundtrack.
For me, seriously, it's got to be that the intro music, right? Like that is just like the first time you hear that, it's like.
I know. I said this on the last Roundtable. Like, when you first hear that in the cinema, like.
Yeah, it's going to break my brain.
No, it is. Yeah. I mean, we talked about this again, but there's nothing really like seeing a Star Wars film in the cinema. It's just, it's made for it. It's made for it.
God, you're one of these people now, innit? We haven't truly experienced
no. I mean,
Star
like,
Wars
just hearing that
David.
and like the roar of the speakers, it's just so good. I mean,
James,
I
do you want to sing your answer?
It's actually in one of the prequels. I think it might be during like the Darth Maul fight where it goes like. I'm not sure if that is like a slightly different Imperial March, but I'm sure it's during the Darth
like the Imperial March.
Is it?
It's Duel of the Fates, mate.
Okay, well,
it's a completely different song.
Well, I thought that was good.
Come on, James, sing your favourite.
No. Do I have to? Because I don't really want to.
Yes, you do.
Is it Yob Nob,
We've all done it.
It's Yob Nob. That's right. Yeah.
Okay, best dogs. I don't want to get copyright on this video.
What was that? Get it pulled from YouTube.
YouTube are going to block us now.
No, I know. I don't know what it's called, but yeah, I know the one he means.
It's like
I like him. I'm a massive fan of Leia's music. It's fucking brilliant. I mean, there's so much good music in these films. It's unreal. Big fan. And Colin, thanks for lending us the Blu-rays so I can watch them. That's appreciated. But the fact is, I'm gonna end up fucking buying them all at some point anyway. I'm sure.
Yeah, just wait for the 4K discs.
God,
for real.
Right, Liz Walker says, "Hi guys, my biggest problem with Rogue One is the total lack of Bothians, especially after being told in Return of the Jedi that, quote, many of them died to give us this information. The phrase made me curious enough to Google what Bothians are, and it turns out they are literally a race of werewolves. What are your guys' thoughts on this omission?"
Can I answer this? Because it's
wrong. Please.
Go on.
Because it's... Okay, so what this is what she's talking about is in Return of the Jedi... The plans for the second Death Star are supplied by Bothan spies, whereas the Rogue One is about the first Death Star, so that's why they're not mentioned.
Fair enough.
Well,
Greg Shepherd,
you got her there. You got her there.
Sorry,
but that's all right. Greg Shepherd, out of interest, how's a raindrop in Kylo's hand weirder than some old bloke shooting magic lightning out of his hands? While I do agree with Dave, I don't want the show to be a superhero thing. I love the way this film... So you're talking about Last Jedi, obviously. I love the way this film handles the Force. I think the films do just need to stop the Force being a defined, knowable thing, as long as it doesn't break the universe. The unknowable nature of the Force is what makes it so alluring to the audience. But I think there is a tendency from fans, particularly fans who play video games, that they want to know and define it and give it power levels and stuff that they don't realise will just sort of ruin it.
Fuck.
What?
I mean... He's bang on.
He goes on to say, which is why it's so fucking boring shit and video gamey in the prequels. They literally just use Force push, a thing from video games, as the main expression of the Force in those movies, and it's boring to watch. P.S. I love the way this film very specifically and deliberately went out of its way to basically say, fuck you, you've missed the point to a tedious and often toxic section of the audience. Does Dave know there were actually people on social media discussing and writing articles with theories and so on about who the boy with the broom was and who he was related to? Because that's how dense some of the hardcore fuckwit fans are.
Firstly, I think there's no shame in like getting excited about that stuff and talking about those theories,
and
right?
Also,
so,
as I've said, like during that show, that's been part of Star Wars for like since the beginning, like that.
So who was the kid with the broom at the end, then, James? Who was it?
It's not unreasonable that people do that. I really don't think it's unreasonable.
No, but
the way
I think you make an excellent point about the Force being, you're trying to qualify it with rules and systems because that's what we do. Especially, like, I don't know how you can qualify that that's mostly video gaming people, but I wouldn't be surprised if we found out that was true.
Yeah.
And that's exactly what I've been doing. So I can't argue with that at all. But I've been watching a lot of Commode reviews about Star Wars films. Have you seen any of them?
I haven't actually.
I tend to watch a lot of Commode reviews anyway. But I've been going back and watching a lot of his reviews, and basically his view on Star Wars is that he thought the first three were okay, that got blown out of proportion for seemingly no reason.
As in the original trilogy?
The original trilogy. He thought the prequels were absolutely appalling. Like he found no good qualities in them, and then The Force Awakens turned him into a Star Wars fan, and suddenly he understood it and got it. But he did say, like, the amount of films that are coming out, this was on, I think, his review of Solo, he said the amount of films that are coming out, it just feels like they're absolutely pouring it into your head and they're afraid to step away from the path a little bit. And he said, he wouldn't be surprised if the next film, it explains how a lamp got into the bar in A New Hope, like in the background. It's like people wondering that. And that sums it up, doesn't it? I mean, it is totally true how they feel that they have to explain every little nuanced thing that happens in every scene. But I think there's some credit to that as well. I do kind of like how silly that is. And there's been times where I've rolled my eyes a little bit, but nothing too much. Like I kind of do like those links, as shallow as most people find them. There are still those moments where I give like a big grin when they reference something from one of the older films and stuff. So, so I'm not quite with you with the debating about the broom kid, because I find that stuff fun to talk about, But I totally agree with you with the Force stuff, and it's funny how I eventually slipped into that sort of mode. With the last few films, especially like The Last Jedi, questioning what the Force was and how it's being used, and how I disagreed with the way that it was used in certain places was something that I really wanted to avoid doing. But there you go. I naturally sort of slipped into that mode. It's weird.
Plus, everyone knows the broom boy is like Tamiri Blag anyway, so I wouldn't really worry about it. It's just some random kid. Get over yourselves.
Yeah, he actually had like a fishing line down his his sleeve, and he just pulled it with his other hand, and the broom sort of comes
forward. It just shows that there's hope in the universe and blah blah blah.
That's explained in 2032's Star Wars film, Star Wars: The Boy with the Broom.
You see, I'd watch that because like the whole hook was like, he doesn't have a lightsaber, he just has a fucking broom. He just beats the shit out of stormtroopers with it.
Right. Wouldn't it be brilliant if they did a film about a kid that just went about pretending to be a Jedi, but it was set in the universe, the Star Wars universe?
So it's a Star Wars kid, but...
Yeah, you see no Jedis throughout the film. There's no bit where he suddenly bumps into Luke Skywalker. None of that. It's just him going to his little school in the middle of nowhere on a shitty planet, pretending to be a Star Wars. What was that fucking film with? I think it was a British film. Bollocks! Where he either wanted to make his own film, or he thought he was a
Son of Rambo.
Son of Rambo. Son of Rambo in the Star Wars universe would be special.
Yeah, and have Star Wars Kid as a cameo in the bar or somewhere.
Never get funded. It would never get funded. Sorry, go
on. Stephen Norman says, "Hi guys, still loving Dave's journey. Thanks again for sharing it. I found myself...
It's over now.
I was going to say yes. Yeah, stop. I found myself unexpectedly nervous, then very relieved that Dave enjoyed The Force Awakens as much as he did. I wouldn't want to choose between that and Empire Strikes Back as my favourite, although my dog is called Rey and not Hoth. I wonder if Dave has seen the trailers for it. Don't know, trailers for what? Oh, for Force Awakens, I guess. Apart from the opening music and Crawl appearing on the cinema screen after all those years waiting, seeing the Millennium Falcon appear in the first trailer, then Han and Chewie in the second one, were probably the biggest emotional impacts I've ever got from anything film-related, let alone trailers. Does the rest of the team feel similar, and can Dave appreciate the impact it had on us long-time Star Wars nerds when it came out?
Yeah, I mean, it must have blown your mind. I remember seeing that trailer... like before all of this, like when the film came out or whatever, just before the film came out. But I didn't know what film it was for. So, yeah, I didn't sort of associate with a specific film because it was just the next Star Wars film in my head that I wasn't going to watch. But no, I don't think I've gone back and seen that one. I went back and saw the Rogue One trailer. Because apparently it's fascinating to watch. And it was, because I watched it and I was like, I don't know this scene. That's the bit where Rey's running towards that panel. Why is there a TIE fighter there? Now, why has that happened? That wasn't in the film. And I watched the Solo trailer as well. And there's, as I said to James, there was like loads of lines in that are just not... Like, the bit where Chewie says his name?
Yeah.
I think I mentioned this on the call.
Yeah, you did. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a bit where Chewie mentions his name and he goes like, "Rah!" And then in the actual film he goes, "Oh, we're going to have to come up with a nickname." Yeah. Well, whereas like in the trailer he goes, "Well, I'm not saying that every time." Like, and I thought that's such a better line. Why didn't they?
Well, that was from the original directors, like, because that's what they were going for, sort of, riffing off each other.
It's a great line, though.
Deleted,
such a good line.
Deleted scene, which is just Han and Chewie having a fucking snowball fight as well, and it's really good. And it's a shame it's not in the film, but yeah.
Did you say watch the trailer for Rogue One? He saw Rey running. Is that what you said?
It means Jin.
Oh, not Rey.
You mean
not, sorry, yeah.
Jin, yeah.
I just want to get there before we get emails.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah, sorry,
Cheers,
I assumed
Matt.
I'd misheard.
You've just got to send me just keep saying that to me throughout the episode, and that I'll get the same feeling as what we get on Twitter after every time we put a call up.
But yeah, like certainly so when the second Force Awakens trailer came out, and it had the shot of Han and Chewie like arriving on the Falcon and saying like, "Chewie, we're home." I was like, "Oh fuck! Oh my god!"
I love that.
Yeah.
So but there must have been rumors that they were going to be in this film, right? They must have leaked.
Well, yeah, there was, but it was still like just the shock of seeing it. Not shock, but just like the way it was done as well was just felt like really perfect and like so right.
It's such a good shot, isn't it? Yeah. And I mean, seeing he gives just a sly smile.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh god, yeah, it's so perfect. Yeah, it is good.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. I mean, for these sorts of films, I basically just watched a teaser. I was off like a teaser, maybe like one full-length trailer, but I don't watch. I don't really want to watch anymore because it would just ruin it, and I want to save those moments for when I see the film. But so genuinely, I watched those trailers after the film because I want to save that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right, Thomas Hardy says, just wanted to say I love Star Calls and I hope you can continue it in some way. It seems David has missed out on a lot of classic and cultural movies. He's mentioned the Marvel series and the Godfather films. I'd love to hear a general movies David hasn't seen podcast. And I love the show and it's gotten me into the computer game show as well.
Cool. Yeah, nice one. I mean, can you suggest any others?
How many?
Fuck the Marvel films, man. There's like 20 odd of them.
I'm not watching Marvel films. I can't say that.
I don't think any of us are that knowledgeable or passionate enough about it to sort of take James's place.
Yeah, like who cares what I think of that? Yeah. I mean, who cares what I think of Star Wars? To be fair, but like, I guess I can't. There's no way I'm going to be able to. I mean, the feeling I get with those films is that the fan base isn't as rabid as.
I don't know. No, it's pretty rabid.
I think it's worse in some regards because you got so many. Really? You got like 50, 60, 70 years of comics and like so many different comics and different writers and different versions of the same comic or different like series that people think, wow, in this one he did this and in that one he did that. I think it's probably worse. And there's so many movies out in such a quick succession with cameos, with references, with like post-credit scenes and.
You've also got like just tons of websites just constantly churning out articles about them as well.
Yeah.
You know, like
how I have avoided so much of that. It's unreal.
I mean, good.
How little I've seen of
absolute poison, most of it. No, it's not. That's not fair. But it's just like, yeah, it's just so many headlines like, oh, this one star said, like, made this one comment about this one decision in this film that came out 2 years ago, and they treat it like it's news, and you're like, come on, like, stop it. It's
well, no, it's all those things like Spider-Man is in this film, and that's okay. And then it's like, and then it's like what
the fuck,
you know, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, what sort of knowledge do you have of the Eddie Murphy catalogue?
Oh no, I've seen quite a few
Eddie Murphy calls would be quite good.
Eddie calls. James, can you think of any other like big film sets? Because there's nothing quite like it, is there?
No, I mean there's Star Trek, but we've been over that.
Yeah, that's not happening.
I'd love to find someone like. I wish one of us hadn't seen the Back to the Future films.
Yeah,
that would have been quite good. But I guess
you've seen like Indiana Jones. I mean, we've been through those. You've seen Alien and all those, haven't you? Those films.
Yes. Yeah. Seen both of them.
What?
Both of them, but
no, both of.
Oh right, so yeah, I've seen both of the Alien films.
Bits of Indiana Jones. I haven't like properly. I've not like repeated watched them, or I think I've seen like one of them all the way through or whatever. They didn't really grab me. The Alien films, that I've seen.
I mean, there's always Willow calls. I mean, there's only one film.
Could we do the Clint Eastwood Dollars trilogy?
Yeah. Oh, that'd be good.
That'd be good.
I think what's also interesting is
that one we'll call it like Money Talks or something.
The interesting thing is that I think a lot of people listen to this and they think it's the first of the series. We actually did. This is the second Calls series of podcasts we did. We did Dark Calls, which was based on James had never played Dark Souls, and I completed it the year before I forced him to play it, and he could only call me for help, and that was where the sort of Calls series started. But that was like 3 years before we started this one. So what I'm saying is that all the people saying, right, what are you going to do next? The answer is nothing for a long time, and then we'll come across an idea that we're really excited about and we'll do it. But fuck knows what it'd be about. Album calls, like some sort of music one where James has to listen to sort of a series of Eminem albums. I don't know.
So Insert Coins on Twitter tweeted us like a couple of weeks ago saying, now that Star Calls is done-ish, may I suggest the Puppet Master Calls, that could be called Doll Calls, the loose chronology of Willy Wonka, Matilda, James and the Giant Peach and the BFG, that's Rolled Calls, and the Ghostbusters franchise, Who You Gonna Calls. So there's a...
Who You Gonna Calls? Good. I like that. I like the idea of doing like the Saw. Final Destination would be a good shout.
Final Calls.
Yeah, and
Saw Calls. You could do those.
Saw Calls. No, what was the what was the other one? I mean, Fast and Furious would be quite good because I've never seen any.
I've not seen any of them either.
Shit.
Yeah, I thought we had the idea for Love Calls, didn't we? That was going to do.
What was the other one? I've always liked the idea of doing something on Twilight. Not Twilight. Jesus.
Oh, mate, I'd be up for that. That'd be good.
I've seen them. I've read some of the books.
Okay.
The Twilight Zone. Is that what it's called?
Yeah,
why is that sound so weird in my head? Yeah, like just because those are like 30-minute episodes with a twist. Yeah. You know what I mean? So to go through every single one of those and do an episode on it, would I really like that idea. Yeah. But you know, who is going to listen to that? No one.
So how would you feel about Carry On Calls?
Oh fuck!
Oh my god, James! No. I'd feel very concerned about that because those films are problematic.
Which one of us is the scholar when it comes to the Carry On films?
Definitely Matt.
That's my special subject. Has anyone?
Oh, my dad. We all watch them and ring my dad. Tell him what we think.
Has anyone not seen Only Fools and Horses? Because Only Calls and Horses would.
Oh shit!
It's perfect.
I mean, I've seen bits, but it's not. Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
that does sound funny though. Watching the Carry On films, ringing my dad and telling him how offensive they are.
A bunch of fucking millennials about it. Like, well, I don't really think
Carry On calling.
And...
Yeah, we should do it.
Matt, all you're thinking about is the title.
Start with that. Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen
start with that, work back.
How many series of that is there?
There's 3. Now 3, isn't there? Yeah.
And a film.
Oh, yeah.
Let's not worry about it. It's got to feel right. Yeah. So, yeah,
totally. All right, Jonathan Laurie says, thanks for the pods. A couple of musings on the Disney-era films, which, with one exception, I've liked very much. I absolutely loved Rogue One. I think it might be my favourite of the Disney films. I didn't see it straight away when it hit cinemas, but 2 or 3 weeks into its run. It released mid-December 2016. Carrie Fisher died in late December 2016. I saw it a couple of days after she died, and so the last 20 minutes alternated between me leaping out of my seat with excitement and bursting into tears when Carrie Fisher suddenly appeared, looking young and fresh-faced. That's not the sole reason I love the film so much, but it had a huge impact in the moment. Solo, however, is a different beast for me. Each to their own, etc., etc. First up, I absolutely do not think the gag about how Han got his name worked. 10 times worse than the Carrie Fisher floating through space bit in The Last Jedi.
Oh, absolutely not 10 times worse.
That's insane.
But overall, I just felt that the character arc was rubbish. By the end of the film, we know he'll do the right thing in a pinch. So it takes his crucial moment in A New Hope, deciding to join the rebellion after all, and makes it an inevitability rather than a turning point in his character. I mean,
fucking good point.
Because, I mentioned this in the start, didn't I? He's absolutely right. On that, but I really like Solo anyway. Was it?
Yeah, because he ends that film as a good guy, and he starts that New Hope as not a bad guy, but like a fuck everyone
self-interested,
guy, and comes good, and that's kind of I see what you're saying there.
So trivia about the name thing. Apparently, in the original version, who was it? Who was supposed to play somewhat like a comic actor was supposed to play that. The Imperial guy who names him Solo, and the whole point was that, was it James? Oh Christ!
I'm joking. I'm actually joking about that. But it's like,
but the whole point was that he was supposed to be an idiot, but then they changed it so that it was played completely straight, which doesn't work quite the same way.
And why does that? I can't see why that would be better. If he was an idiot.
I think it was like basically the guy was an idiot, and he basically put like Han, comma. I can't remember. Basically, when
it was a mistake, right? Okay.
And it was but then they played it completely straight. It was like, okay, well, your surname is now Solo. It's don't know. I don't know if it would have helped that much.
It didn't really bother me.
No, it didn't upset me either. Again, it was a bit like, see, look, that's why he's called Han Solo. Do you remember? He's in like, but fine.
I can completely see what you're saying. What I was interested in with that email is Carrie Fisher. We didn't really speak about her as an actress much, did we? But was she known for other things after this? Like, did she have like a long acting career?
The only other thing I've seen her in is Blues Brothers, which is great in, to be fair. But beyond that, I don't know.
Because she's obviously beloved and stuff, and I know she was quite a spokesperson, wasn't she?
Yeah, she's like. Have you ever heard her talk about it's obviously the outfit that Jabba the Hutt makes her wear, and that's been like a debate for years about whether it's basically whether or not it is problematic, and her response was basically always like, the big horrible slug made me wear it. So I strangled him to death. She has generally seemed really cool. I know, like James, you might know more than me. I know she had a lot of trouble with like drug addiction and stuff. But then, to be honest, I think half the cast did at some point or another.
There was that, and there's also allegations with Harrison Ford and all that kind of stuff as well.
Really?
Yeah,
I didn't know that.
That wasn't great. Yeah,
that's crazy, and they managed to get them.
Yeah, I think
in the same film together, and
I think it was all kind of. From what I've read, I may be wrong, but that there was like a relationship kind of going on, but he didn't treat her well. At that time.
Jesus.
And,
that's sad to hear, but God, she was just so good in The Force Awakens, like just properly, and obviously the original trilogy, she was fantastic in as well, but The Force Awakens, to come back with a performance like that, I thought she was fucking wonderful. Was it The Force? I'm thinking The Last Jedi, I think, maybe.
She was in both.
She's in both, but I said, which one did she have more of a presence in?
I mean, to be fair, most of The Last Jedi, she's like unconscious. So
yeah, I think The Force Awakens she's in a lot more.
Yeah, maybe I am. Yeah, it's weird because I've only seen them once. Like, it's hard to pick them apart at this point. But yeah, no, I mean, her performances have been pretty incredible. So I can see why people were so attached to her and why maybe that scene was a little bit more powerful than I found it. But yeah, no, I cringed my fucking bollocks off of that scene.
Yeah, so the bit where she's in space and then she flies back to safety. I didn't like, in hindsight, it's bad. Obviously, at the time, I was just sort of overwhelmed because she'd passed away in real life. I was like, oh shit, so this is how she dies, and then oh my god, she's not dead. Ah, fuck! And I was in the moment. Like, that was more powerful than, oh, hang on, this looks really bad.
I remember being affected by that for sure.
Yeah,
the people that defend it have always said, like, because I've spoken to people in real life about it, and the people that defend it all say the same thing. But isn't it cool that you get to see her use the Force for the first time?
No, rubbish.
That's what I would rather see her kick someone's fucking head in with the Force. You know, wouldn't that be better? Like, if she just piled into someone and absolutely fucked them up like Darth Vader walking down that corridor. Like, that would have been just fucking brilliant. Yeah. But instead, we see her just, like, floating through the sky.
I mean, was it, like, I still can't decide if it's the... Like, I don't think it's the fact of what happens. It is just the way it looks.
Yeah, the visual, yeah.
But obviously, you know, she's in space, so yeah, her clothes wouldn't be like billowing everywhere, or she wouldn't have to assume as like a Superman pose or whatever. But then she kind of does, doesn't she? She's got like that one arm out and just sort of goes.
She has. Comes up against it.
Yeah.
How much did she film of episode 9 before she passed away? Because she has done some, hasn't she?
We don't know, but she's definitely in it. I am anxious
about that.
But we don't know if she's definitely in it.
No, she's definitely in it, but we don't know how much.
Yeah. Oh, okay, yeah.
But then, I mean, it's what they, again, going back to Fast and Furious, you know, they had deaths in their cast, and they shot none of that film, and he's in it.
Yeah.
Because,
I just want to know how much to be CG and how much to be real. But, it'd be interesting.
Yeah. Right, Phil Doyle says, hello, hopefully I haven't missed this. I've been keeping an eye on Twitter, but here's some Star Wars thoughts anyways. Love the show. As a lifelong Star Wars fan, it was very interesting to hear everyone's thoughts on the films. One thing I was surprised didn't come up, especially in the original trilogy chats, was producer Gary Kurtz. He worked on the first 2 films, then split from Lucas as Empire was wrapping up due to their views of the series were starting to diverge. Kurtz would say in interviews he felt that the toys were beginning to drive the making of the film rather than the story. His vision of Return of the Jedi would have had no Death Star, Han dying midway through the film, and with much more bittersweet ending. This obviously differed from where old Georgie boy wanted to take the series. I do wonder what would have happened if Kurtz had started on the films. It felt like after this, especially with the prequels, there was no one to push back on George and tell him no. Anyway, I thought it was worth a mention given Kurtz's great contribution to the series, and it's well worth seeking out interviews and stuff he's done over the years. Really enjoyed the show and look forward to finding out the next franchise to get this treatment.
Problem is, it's easy to slip into, that would have been better, but we just don't know, do you?
Yeah, totally.
Without seeing.
I mean, you probably wouldn't have had any Ewoks.
Yeah, no Ewoks. The prequels would be vastly different, I imagine, as well.
And you also don't know how much of the thought of the merchandise was really put into it, because I mean, have you seen that documentary on Netflix about the Star Wars toys?
Oh no, I haven't. No,
the story behind them. And it's a documentary series on all sort of
is it
toys
the toys
like
that made us or something?
Yeah.
Yes, that's it. And it turns out George weren't earning a lot from the merchandise of the first
really?
The original trilogy by the sounds of it. Yeah, because it was such a last minute deal that basically you earned fuck all from any of the figures. And it was what was the company that made them?
Was it Mattel? Hasbro? One of them, surely.
One of them.
No.
Kenner originally.
Kenner, that's it. Kenner just, like, they said, look, usually for film merchandise, we want to start production a year before the film comes out.
Right.
And you've given us like 3 months. So everyone's turned you down. Here's what we're offering you. And it was like Kenner made 98% of profits and George Lucas made like 2%, which is still like a big chunk of change or whatever. But yeah, I mean, he got totally screwed. And I think they said that was the deal for like the first 2 films. But I could be wrong.
Jesus, yeah, because the story you always hear is that he made an absolute fortune. He's like, he made this clever, shrewd decision that he just said, I just want the money from the toys, and made an absolute fortune. But I guess maybe not.
But no, watch that documentary on Netflix, because it is quite interesting, and it's amazing how they even come out. And I mean, the story about the figures didn't come out until about 6-7 months after the film.
Let's not get into when figures came out, Dave, because we'll have another argument on our hands.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. But no, it was about 6 or 7 months after the film came out, because they just weren't ready. And that Christmas, the Christmas after the film came out, Kenneth sold empty boxes, with in it saying, "Oh, you have Star Wars figures that are going to come out, and we'll send you them." Like what? So it was like pre-ordering. Like, you got this empty box on Christmas morning with Star Wars pictures on it that says, "Yeah, you've bought them, and we'll send them when they're done."
Fuck.
And that's what kids were opening on Christmas morning.
It's interesting, actually.
It's fascinating.
Something you might not have heard about. There's been like weirdness around the toys. So when Force Awakens came out, like they just thought everyone was going to obsess about Kylo Ren. So like all the figures and all the all the merch and stuff had Kylo Ren all over it, and everyone was like, "No, Rey's the goodie. We want Rey stuff," and it completely caught Disney off guard. They didn't realise. They just thought everyone would think Kylo Ren was cool, and it's like, no, he's kind of an idiot. That's his thing. Like, he's a petulant teenager.
He's kind of a loser, yeah.
But he is cool. He's just a cool idiot.
Right. Where are we?
Could you buy one of those like Darth Vader masks burnt up? Like a life-sized burnt up Darth Vader mask?
You can. Almost certainly someone is selling that somewhere.
The next email is incredibly long. Do you want me to read the whole thing?
Yeah, you'll get through it.
No. What I will say, no, I mean, it's an incredibly... it's long.
It's incredibly long.
It's very long.
How many pages is it?
It takes up 2 entire pages of the document.
I mean, we're 25% of the way through if you'd started.
All right, okay, let's start and let's see how we go. Right. I mean, God, don't get me wrong. I am extremely flattered that someone has taken the time out to share their opinions to this length. Like, it's not a reflection on the person that's emailing in or whatever. It's just time constraints more than anything else.
Just learn to edit yourself. It's fine. Right.
Sean, these are our listeners. Fuck
Deep
you.
Breath. Mark Flickinger. He's from America, so who knows? Hello from Seattle, Washington, USA. Love both podcasts. This pertains to Star Calls, which has been a ton of fun to hear. My wife and I did something similar when The Force Awakens was released, as my wife had never seen Star Wars. I had to watch them all, finishing with Force Awakens in the theatre. She's now a huge fan.
The way you say that, though, I had her watch them all. Like,
made her. She's now a huge fan. Then we watched The Last Jedi and was super disappointed. Long email, I apologise. Sorry, I've already been mean about it. But I wanted to outline some of the issues that I had with that film in particular. Take what you want and talk it over. Might be a fun conversation in the next roundtable. The first major issue I have, and to me the biggest plot hole, is the beginning. When the Dreadnought comes out of hyperspace, it fires its cannons at the surface of the planet, blowing up the surface base, while we see a ship narrowly escaping. We then see Leia on the capital ship and hear a radio call stating that, quote, "The last transport is away, the evacuation is complete." During this sequence, Poe is flying around shooting the cannon towers to clear the way for the bombers, which have yet to be sent out. Only once Poe finished shooting the towers does he argue with Leia and ask for the bombers to be sent in. This begs the question, why would the First Order shoot the planet first? It's not going anywhere anytime soon. The Dreadnought should have shot the capital ship containing Princess Leia, Admiral Akbar, Admiral Holdo right off the bat, killing all the rebellion leadership. Then it should have shelled the remaining ships on the planet. This surely would have scattered the remaining rebels. And before you say, oh, but that wouldn't work, the remaining rebels would fight on, yeah, maybe, but this concept worked with the Republic, which was destroyed in the same way by Starkiller Base in Force Awakens. The First Order just blew up the 5 or so planets with the Republic leadership stroke government, and boom, the end of the Republic, despite the Republic being thousands and thousands of systems, as alluded to in the saga throughout. Lastly, you could also make an argument that the First Order doesn't know where Leia is, or other rebel leadership for that matter. She could be on a smaller ship. But this doesn't jive with the fact that the First Order will only track the large capital ship as per Holdo's plan. For all they know, Leia and Rebel leadership could have just got away on a smaller ship, like the Falcon, that flew away during the chase. So instead of chasing it to blow it up, why not just blow it up first? To me, this glaring error is an example...
Can I just respond to that at this stage? Why didn't they shoot the escape pod in New Hope?
Because they detected no life forms on it and they thought it had malfunctioned.
Yeah, but they're not looking for life forms, are they? They're looking for the plans.
Yeah.
So it would be reasonable to say, well, the fucking plans might be on there, so let's just blow it up just in case. We don't care about life forms, we care about the fucking plans. Just blow it up. So, I mean, it's what I'm saying is that we got previous here. I know they're different. The Empire and the First Order are, quotation marks, different, but, you know, I think you could level the same criticism at that.
Yeah,
that
basically.
Scene.
I mean, this isn't something I noticed at any point. Maybe I'm thick, but I wasn't. Yeah, this didn't stick out as a glaring error to me. But whatever. Right, yeah. Other issues. The entire Canto Bight / Rose / Finn situation mixed with the Poe mutiny is all because Holdo just doesn't tell anyone what her plan is. Requiring blind obedience is awfully Empire-like. I mean, it was the point that Holdo has literally no reason to tell Poe what the plan is because it doesn't concern him, and it's just Poe being like, "I'm the big pilot man. I should know everything that's going on." And it's like, well, no, you're not. You're not part of the command. You're a soldier.
Yeah. Firstly, I should say we're not shitting on your opinions. I mean, if this is how you feel, then that's how you feel, and that's interesting. But we're just reflecting how we felt about these criticisms, and the way I feel about that one is that. Why the fuck would they trust Poe? He's just fucked up, disobeyed everyone, and now he's rocking around saying, "Tell me things." It's like, mate, you're lucky that we ain't killed.
He was a massive liability throughout that film. Yeah, and it's understandable.
Yeah.
Because I originally felt that. I originally thought, why aren't they just fucking telling him? And then when I thought about it a little bit more, I was like, I wouldn't tell him. Like, fuck you, Poe. Just go back to your fucking bedroom.
Why blow Leia up if she's going to survive and use Superman powers to ferry her way back inside, just to then pass out for a significant part of the movie? Especially considering Carrie Fisher passed away, it would have been more than acceptable to have her die in the series. Yeah, I can get with that. I think that would have been, and especially because then that would definitely be that Kylo killed her. I think that'd be huge. I have
heard a theory about this, why this happened. One of the main. This could all be bullshit, but one of the main suggestions when they were originally looking at doing this Disney trilogy was that the 3 films were going to be based around the 3 main characters from the original trilogy. So the first one about Han Solo and he dies. The second one about Luke Skywalker and he dies. And then the third one would be more Leia focused and she dies. But obviously they haven't been able to make that third film, which is, horrifically sad. Yeah. As far as we're aware, I mean, they might still be able to hit those notes, but, it's highly unlikely. But yeah, that would kind of explain it. But you're right. I mean, I saw that film and I just thought, oh my God, Leia's dead. And then when she come back to life, I was like, why are they doing that? That felt like it was going to be a very emotional, incredible bit of the film, and it wasn't. Yeah. So I see what you're saying.
Yeah, totally. He then says, if Luke wants to shut off from the Force, why go to a Jedi temple?
I made that point.
Yeah, we talked about that.
To me, it just felt like he still wanted to, be of use to the Jedi, but not in, not actually training anyone, not actually being involved with the Force. He was just like, well, I'll just be a, custodian of the temple and just, but whatever. It says Luke faces Ren in the last scene, but then dies. Why? He has to come back in the next movie. Other than that, why not have them actually face off if the director was planning on killing Luke? He even says, see you around, but then dies right after completely punking Ren from halfway across the galaxy. To me, it undermines the entire scene. Luke returns and embarrasses his previous apprentice, but then ends up dying anyway. I thought this was great, this bit.
Well, the bit where he gets shot up and then walks out.
Yeah, because initially you just because at first you're like, oh my god, is it just that Luke is that powerful that he can just get shot to shit and he's fine?
I thought it was good.
And it's just a nice it just shows that at this point Luke has basically completely committed to being a pacifist. Like he's literally not actually there, but he still completes his objective despite confronting Ren in a way that he couldn't hurt him even if he wanted to. It's literally impossible.
Yeah, you're right.
So I thought that was interesting, but then the sort of the idea that's but it was really hard, so he died anyway.
Yeah, he's just knackered. He's like,
he's just tired.
I've done my bit.
Yeah, I mean, doing an astral projection halfway across the galaxy probably would wear you out a little bit.
I've done my fair share of them, and it is knackering. You do need a day off work after that.
I can barely walk into the front room in the mornings these days, so
Yeah, it's about the same as a heavy stag doing having to go into work on Monday morning. It's about the same, I think.
Yeah. After a festival.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, Snoke's write-out was terrible. He was such a strong and mysterious character, yet Kylo offs him easily and without development. Sad. To put this in perspective, the fan theories for The Last Jedi about who Snoke was crazy fun. Check out the attached photo. Vader strokes Snoke's similarities are striking. And then to have Snoke killed without any story was an absolute waste.
Yeah, I thought that was really silly, actually. I was like, all that build-up, and it's just...
It plays into my theory.
Which one?
So I've got a theory about the Rise of Skywalker and the fact that the Emperor's clearly Palp. I think Siths do have Force ghosts.
Yeah,
and Palp is a Force ghost that's been working with Kylo Ren from day one, and he was using Snoke to build his positioning up so that he could eventually become the leader of the First Order, and he was ordered by Palp to kill Snoke at that point because that was the opportunity for him to become the supreme leader.
It would make sense because one of my major issues with the new Disney films is I understand, the First Order, I like the whole thing about how they are just kind of like a shit tribute act. It's people are just like, well, fuck, let's just do what the Empire did again, I guess. But where the fuck have all their resources come from to do that? That hasn't really added up for me. So yeah, if it turned out Palpatine was, doing
behind
stuff,
the whole thing.
But somehow, that would sort of make some sense. So yeah.
Although I'm not happy about him being in the film, to be honest. Because it just feels.
Well, you don't know yet.
I know.
You've got to get the context before you get unhappy about it.
Though. Yeah, it's definitely.
No, I mean, what I'm saying, he's definitely in it, but you don't know the context in which he returns.
I'm hoping that it's going to be brilliant and that it's going to be. That it's going to be great, and that they'll have figured out a way to make it so that he's in it, and it's fine. But I don't know. It feels a bit desperate.
Sounds like you made your mind up already.
I'm just saying it feels a bit desperate, like what they've done with this. I don't like the idea.
Definitely sounds like you made your mind up already.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see.
It then says Captain Phasma is a total waste of space. He gets thrown down a trash chute in The Force Awakens and is now sort of killed in The Last Jedi. The character arc was non-existent, just flashy armour.
Totally agree. When they announced Gwendolyn Christie was in this, I'm like, amazing. She was great in the Game of Thrones. Like, this could be exciting. Like a powerful, strong woman in this. And then, her character is just shit.
Yeah.
And like a really crap death. So, that for nothing.
Because I didn't know the actress. I didn't know any of this stuff, but it was a shit character, so I didn't give a shit that they died in that shit way. Also, everyone's going, oh, didn't they die in the first film with the whole
it seemed like she did.
Was it garbage disposal? I thought that was a joke. I didn't think they actually put her in the garbage disposal.
I mean, you don't see it, but yeah,
I thought it was just Han Solo making a joke because of the, what he'd been through.
I'll tell you what, I would bet real money that she's going to be in this last film again as well.
I think she is as well, because it's too big a waste of such a brilliant actor.
I'll be disappointed if she is, because, very clearly fell into a fucking ball of fire.
But she's got special shiny armour.
But it'll be part of the gag as well, isn't it? It's like, oh, she's back again. It's just...
All bets are off now, though, isn't it? Because Darth Maul.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
Fucking ridiculous. I look like, oh yeah, didn't he get stabbed? And James was like, he was chopped in half. It's getting into Wolfenstein 2 territory.
Right, the introduction of fuel to the galaxy all of a sudden is an odd one. It doesn't seem like a worthy addition to the galaxy other than it being a plot point here. And did Hux know the fleet was low on gas? I mean, that would have been a serious idiot move to just have the Rebel fleet jump to light speed, then upon coming out, just jump again before the First Order comes out of their first jump and therefore can't track them. It just seems really lucky the Rebels were coincidentally low on fuel. Yeah.
Well, you've got to also remember that you're talking to someone who is incredibly thick, and you lost me at the second time you said jump. It really takes everything my brain has to follow that stuff. So, so that's probably why I was fine with it. Fuel, lack of fuel. Yep.
I mean, the problem with that bit, I know we discussed this on WhatsApp, but we'll briefly go through it here.
We did. It was really funny.
I mean, because Sean's got the answer to this as well, which I can't believe I didn't say. Because
I've got the hand wave. I've got the hand wave. Gone to let's just say what was said without embarrassment, and then like let's not argue over it.
So one point,
I think the point that I made at the end made it like totally justifiable about what we both said.
So yeah, basically, people made the argument that because like momentum is infinite in space, if you're in a spaceship that's traveling at 100 miles an hour, or whatever, and then you run out of fuel, you'll carry on travelling at 100 miles an hour until you hit something, right? So this idea that like, if they run out of fuel and then they suddenly slow down and get near to the Imperial ship or whatever, doesn't quite work. But then, yeah, I was saying I can sort of understand if it's like they're all accelerating and then as soon as one of the Rebel ships runs out of fuel, they stop accelerating and it's just that the Imperial one is... Yeah,
that's nonsense, though, isn't it? That means they're like infinitely accelerating.
My reason was right. But my answer to this was, maybe they should have just done a burst, and then travelled at that one speed, right, Sean? And you went, and I put, and they would have slowly suffocated to death because surely it takes fuel to power the fucking ventilation for oxygen around the ship.
I mean, this is it, isn't it? Like
Sean replied with, actually, life support's never really explained in Star Wars, and then I put, and I think this sums this up, right? And it sums up a lot of these arguments, right? That I kind of like how fucking vague Star Wars is about so much essential shit that it sparks these ridiculous arguments, like these ridiculous. That's not explained, so we need to explain it ourselves. But if we explain it ourselves, we can also come up with counter-arguments for what we've explained. And then it gets into this big mess of arguments and discussions.
It's like
and stuff.
the droids as well. It's like, guess what? Some of them are just like little, like, radio-controlled cars that go around going, or whatever. And some of them are basically people. And whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. But,
it's true. It's true.
Right, what else we got? Also, finding refuge on the nearby planet was pointless as well. The capital ship was doomed because it couldn't jump to hyperspace and get away because of the First Order tracking it. So like James said, why not just abandon it and everyone splits up? It was toast anyway, so who cares? The First Order can't track all the little ships and weren't actively trapping them anyway. The crux of the Canto Bight mission. This being... This being they were only tracking the large capital ship from the largest First Order ship. Everyone else could have boogied out before the First Order realised it, just like the Millennium Falcon did. But hey, have blind faith in Holdo's plan that she won't tell you. I mean, so James already covered most of that, didn't you? It's like they could have just split up and would have been fine.
Repeatedly, it didn't stop after the call either. Repeated text messages from him.
Snoke beating the tar out of Hux on the bridge by flipping around is absurd and undermines his authority. No one could take him seriously after that interaction. Also, Snoke doesn't know about this entire plan to track rebel ships. You would think that a prospective major conflict with the only remaining rebels would have been important enough to tell Snoke about and that he would have wanted all the details. Yeah, because Hux sort of surprises Snoke with that, doesn't he? Or was Hux does or Kylo Ren does? I can't remember.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
But
yeah, I thought that whole interaction was just silly. It was stupid.
I was okay with it because Snoke makes that point of like, no, the whole point is that he is an embarrassed coward, and that's why he does all the horrible shit I ask him to, because he's just terrified. Like, he's just so desperate to appear not a fucking weasel that he'll do anything.
Or he's taking orders from Pout.
Or that.
this whole fucking time.
No.
Yeah,
big palpitations. All in all, the new trilogy had so much potential, especially after The Force Awakens. The issue a lot of fans have is the fact that Rian Johnson really destroyed J.J. Abrams' story arc. J.J. wrote the entire trilogy, and then Rian rewrote The Last Jedi once being brought in to direct. This does not work. I just hope the damage can be undone. I appreciate you guys. I dig TCGS and Star Calls. Thanks for being awesome.
Cheers, man. I do find that kind of strange that they gave it to one guy and then they gave it to another guy and then they went into
what I find strange is, like, did Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams never meet? Like, did they just?
No, they didn't.
There's just a WhatsApp group.
Yeah, there was no. Apparently, there was nothing. Like, really,
I mean, that is, he didn't want to be involved, did he, JJ?
Sorry?
He did. J.J. Abrams didn't want to be involved with the second film. He just said, "Do what you want to do, and I'll pick it up."
How strange! You'd think they would at least have a meeting, wouldn't you? And be like, "Here's what I want to do," and really odd.
Getting his Outlook invite. Yeah. Tentative? No matter how many meetings I get invited to on Outlook, I always reply tentative because it fucking winds people up big time. They're like, "Why are you tentative to this?" Just so I might turn up. I don't know.
Not decided yet.
And that's why I haven't been promoted.
Right, Alex D says, firstly, I'd just like to say how much I've enjoyed this series. I'm not a huge fan of Star Wars, but I've watched most of the films, and it's been brilliant to hear Dave's thoughts coming to them after all these years. The roundtables have really made me wish you guys did a movie podcast. I had an idea, once a month, a roundtable discussion on a movie that one of you has chosen. You could take turns picking the films and announce the next month's film at the end of each episode so the community could watch along and email in feedback and questions. Anyway, just a wish I had. My question is about everyone's favourite topic, pronunciation. That's pronunciation, James. I've also pronounced...
Hold on, Sean. Sure.
Also pronounced Han Solo as Han to rhyme with ban or tan. I've never heard it said any differently, but David decided it's Han to rhyme with Narn or Barn. Have I missed something? Maybe that's the right way of saying it, and I've been wrong all these years. Thoughts? Thanks again, lads. Amazing content as always. Love what you do. It's a genuine highlight of my week.
Yeah, I mean,
Thanks,
I've always said it Han.
In the films, they definitely say Han.
Yeah, that is supposed to be Han, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it just sounds weird.
Okay, hold on. Because this is interesting, right? The reason why I suddenly started saying Han, because if you listen to the early episodes, I say Han. I'm pretty sure on the first roundtable, I thought it was on the first roundtable, maybe it was privately, Matt Murray said, "Why the fuck are you saying Han Solo when it's Han Solo?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm getting that wrong then, so I'll switch to Han Solo." Isn't this referenced in the Solo film?
Oh, is it? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure there is a scene in the Solo film where someone calls him Han and he goes, "It's Han."
Yeah, maybe you're right.
Okay. Yeah. So it's definitely Han.
I'm almost sure of it. But
because if it was Han, like none of the Americans would say it with that Han. They would pronounce it Han, wouldn't they? Like,
Han Solo.
Han
Do
Solo.
that again.
Yeah. So it's not like, grass or grass or whatever. It is Han, I think.
It's weird hearing you say grass.
Grass. Bath.
Is it? What is,
grass. I'm going to have a bath. It's
like if I say grass.
Grass.
Yeah. That's right, is it?
Have you ever noticed that people with southern accents still often say podcast instead of podcast?
No.
I've spotted that. Spotted a few people doing
Podcast.
Fucking smack them in the mouth.
I wouldn't say podcast, but...
Podcast.
Correct way of saying it. Right. We've already talked about not knowing what we're doing next. Probably nothing for a bit. Justin Hill says, "Hi guys, enjoyed hearing Dave's thoughts on Last Jedi. One thing I'm surprised James didn't mention was the universe-breaking use of a ship at light speed as a battering ram to destroy a much larger vessel. If that's possible, why didn't the rebels just enter light speed and ram all the Death Stars to destroy them? Why even have space battles in the Clone Wars, as the Separatists could have just made kamikaze droid ships to destroy everything? Last Jedi is growing on me after I wasn't convinced, but I still can't explain this problem away."
Well, I mean, I think you can. I mean, because you can say it's a waste of resources for a start, like doing that, and it's like a.
Well, is it if you can use like a load of pissy ships to take out something like a Death Star or a?
Yeah, someone's got to build a pissy ship. I guess it's like if you think about the return on investment.
Yeah, they lost 4 X-wings going for the Death Star in the first place, didn't they? at least. No, I read. Well, no, I didn't read. I watched a video on YouTube of someone trying to explain this, and apparently it wasn't the ship flying into that destroyer that blew it up. It was the shield. And they mention in the film
get into shields,
specifically, it's got a different. Yeah,
well, a shield or
it's got a specific type. It's got a specific type of shield that it's like, you know, they mention that, and apparently it's the shield that rips through the. And even then, she wasn't 100% sure it'd work. But that was the hand wave that I read that I watched. I didn't.
It's hand wave.
I'm one of these. You know what I'm like. You know what I'm like. I watched the video and went, yeah, okay, fine. I didn't bother looking into it any further than that.
It's enough of an explanation to just be like, yeah, do you know what? Fine.
Yeah.
Right, Lee Davis says, well, hello there. I've really enjoyed the show. It's been something to look forward to on a Monday morning. Anyway, my question is about spaceships. Dave never really talked much about them, and to me, the Millennium Falcon, X-Fighter, X-Wing, and TIE Fighters really are a massive part of what I love about the original trilogy. But that's not really a question. So, do you think that a real love for the spaceships in Star Wars is down to having the toys as a kid? I used to doodle them in my school books and can still do a decent Falcon in a few seconds.
Definitely.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I don't think I had the toys, but they are like, especially considering how old, you know, obviously the original designs are. They are still like weird and quite iconic, like the TIE Fighters and the Millennium Falcon, especially.
Yeah, TIE Fighters definitely. Millennium Falcon, I didn't really like the look of. The interior, I thought was fucking stunning. Like I really liked how it looked inside. Outside, I thought it looked a bit shit, to be honest. I know that's going to piss people off. The X-Wings, utterly incredible. Like utterly incredible. The TIE Fighters are comically a bit shit. Like they really are.
I mean, the name,
especially when you saw Vader in one. Like it was like, and he's just, you see this big like round circle, and him just like sitting in it with these two little wobbly things on the side, just look ridiculous.
Yeah, so the fact they're called TIE Fighters, and like because there are loads of like cartoons, because they look like little bow ties, James.
No, it's not. It's because it stands for Twin Ion Engine.
Yeah, I know, but they do look like little bow ties and are called TIE Fighters.
It's called Twin Ion Engine, actually.
I would say, where does the X in X-Wing come from there?
I don't know. Well, it looks like an X, I guess.
Looks like an X. Thank you.
Are you kidding me? That's exactly what it is, isn't it? Oh, right. And you're using that to back yourself up. Right, gotcha. I think the Star Destroyers are probably my favourite looking ships. I think they look fucking brilliant, those things. Yeah, I'm bang up for those. But yeah, no, the Millennium Falcon, I didn't like the exterior of it. I didn't fall in love with, but I liked everything inside of it. I thought looked really cool.
I think in terms of the TIE Fighters, I love the fact that Darth had his own special version, and that was unique. I thought that was really cool.
Well, it wasn't, because it was kind of a TIE Interceptor or like TIE Advance.
Well, yeah, but it's a different shape to the common TIE Fighter design that most of the other people were flying around in.
James is getting down grumpy.
It's late midnight.
Yeah, I mean, I think people don't talk enough about the fact that, the way the R2 units plug into the X-wings, because obviously,
they're pretty cool.
We'd had shows or whatever where a ship has an AI or a fucking Knight Rider or whatever, where you talk to the car, but no one else has done the idea of and that AI pal is you can unplug him and then he walks around and he's your little robot friend as well. That's pretty unique stuff.
I think you mentioned that on the last Roundtable, and I said on it, oh yeah, like a Nintendo Switch, but I was actually thinking, now I'm thinking more VMU. Pure Dreamcast lid.
Right, God, how many more of these are there? Barney Sparkles says, hey, all question to everyone. Who would you snog, marry and avoid out of all the characters in the films?
Right, you can't do all characters in the films because that doesn't work.
No, you have to pick 3 characters, don't you?
You have to pick 3, and I was thinking Boba Fett,
Jabba,
Jar Jar Binks, and Jabba the Hutt.
Probably marry Boba.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, because he's got a stable job, and he's
the only one who isn't actively annoying or gross.
Yeah. I don't know what's under that helmet. But,
True. What else?
Yes, we do. We know who's under the helmet, don't we?
Have we seen?
Well, yeah, because he's just a clone of Django, isn't he?
He's the clone.
New Zealand fella.
He's the original. Is he the original? I think it's the original.
No, he's not the original. It's the clone of his. It's his son, isn't it? Or though it's actually just a clone of him.
Yeah.
It's a clone of Django.
Yeah. No, you're right. Yeah. It's the clone,
Snog Jar Jar, because that tongue, guys, come on.
Yeah. That's going to go places.
And avoid Jabba, because he's gross.
Actually, I think, that's a communal
I'll do
agreement.
That's official.
Where's Salacious Crumb in this?
Where is Salacious Crumb? I mean, if you marry Jabba, then...
Wait, did he say marry, snog and avoid?
Snog, marry and avoid, yeah.
Oh, that's not the right way of doing it.
I know it should be fuck, marry, kill, but I mean, I don't think that changes my answers. Right, Andy.
Yeah, but that does mean that you would fuck Jar Jar.
Again, tongue, mate. We're going to do.
Okay, can we not mention it again?
Andy Godwin says, hi all, love the podcast and appreciate all the hard work you put in. Sorry, go on.
Misa put it there. Misa lick ass. Hang on.
Isn't this... No. He catches flies with his tongue, right? So his tongue's like sticky.
Yeah. Oh, God. Let's not.
That's something to think about. Andy Godwin says, love the podcast, appreciate all of the hard work you all put in, except James.
Misa got all the way.
Which of you...
Misa third base.
Which of you would join the Jedi Council and who would be turned to the dark side, especially if they hate sand, and what style of lightsaber would you have?
Right, okay, I see this split down the middle.
Oh shit, okay.
Sean is Jedi Council.
Thank you.
Matt is Jedi Council. And me and James are Siths, right?
I don't know about that.
That's what I think.
I think I'll probably go dark side because I'll be worried about missing out.
No, maybe you would be
dark
side.
Hang on, but what should they do? Oh, okay, let's try both and then I'll decide. I'm not going to be able to...
You've done some fucked up shit over the years, Matt.
I mean, the dark side have the cooler lightsabers.
Well, yeah, I want the Darth Maul double-ended one. That's what
I'm sorry, what?
Maybe I would be Jedi. You can start
a double-ended one as a proper Jedi. Probably.
And I mean, in the next film, the trailer for that, the trailer for the lightsaber for that is mad, isn't it?
Yeah. It looks like the galaxy fold.
Mad. Yeah.
Maybe I would be Jedi then, and Matt would be Sith. But I'm an arsehole, so maybe we've got one Jedi and 3 Siths amongst us. I think maybe that's the way it is.
Shit.
And let's face it, if Sean was a Jedi, it'd be one of the ones, sitting around the table that turned up to kill Palp, but Palp took him down by basically sneezing on him. It'd be one of those Jedis.
Yeah, pretty much. Right, Adrian Chorley says, apologies for the late email. First things first, what an absolutely stellar series this has been.
Thank you.
Well done to Dave and James for delivering a stunning podcast series. Every episode has been a top-class listen. It's been a genuine pleasure to experience the franchise I so love. Really start to get its claws into Dave. Once you start down this path forever, it will dominate your destiny. There's a lot of Star Wars content coming up, not just Episode 9, for which I'm sure this pod will return, but also the Mandalorian TV series, the Cassian Andor, him out of Rogue One TV series, and now the Obi-Wan TV series.
Jesus.
Interested to know Dave and the rest's thoughts on these announced projects. Which ones is he looking forward to? Obviously Episode 9, but thoughts on the rest. It'd be good to reassemble the crew to dissect each TV series as it happens too. So, we'll comment on that bit first, and then he carries on. But
bit hard for me. I haven't got Amazon Prime.
Oh no,
these are all Amazon Prime.
No, mate, these are all going to be Disney Plus. So we can't. Legally, we can't even watch them.
We're not
until
getting them yet.
Next year.
It's going to be a while.
Oh, we're not getting it.
Probably no confirmed date. I mean, it launches November in the States and maybe another market.
So there is definitely no way we're doing a series on them then just yet, because the moment they hear British guys on a podcast talk about how much they've enjoyed the latest Star Wars thing that they can't legally access yet,
just get your uncle from America to send it over. It's.
I really thought. I mean, if you could be, it's going to launch in November over here, like it does over there.
What did we used to call that, James?
It's Don
Uncle
Load.
Don.
It's it's
Uncle Don.
Uncle Don's going to send it. Yeah.
Uncle Don sending it. Yeah. Remember that?
I mean, yeah. If you could be asked setting up a VPN, that would do it as well, which is
illegal.
I don't know quite how illegal that is. It's not the same as piracy. You're still paying for the stuff.
I mean, I don't want to have to wait months to see these. Like, The Mandalorian looks so good. Have you seen the trailer for that, Dave? Yeah.
Yes.
I think it looks great. I mean,
I wasn't blown away by it.
All the stuff that they show Disney Plus wise, I'm very excited for. It's really interesting that Ewan McGregor's, bringing his role back for his TV series.
I still don't get it.
Is it just going to be him hanging out on Tatooine as a weird hermit? And
here's the thing that I don't get, right? They're saying, so Disney Plus is basically their answer to online streaming,
to Netflix,
all of Disney content and stuff, That's their Netflix.
Yep.
What's Disney Life then? Because that's what Disney Life is.
Don't know what Disney Life. Disney Life, I assume, will just fold into Disney Plus.
Yeah, they'll bin that and they'll just go for that.
That's really pricey as well, Disney Life. Like, it's more expensive than Netflix.
It's £5.
Jesus.
It's what?
£5 Disney Life.
Oh, is it really? I thought it was more expensive
Netflix
than that.
Yeah. And I
still though, £5 a month just for Disney content.
But just Disney is a lot bigger than it used to be, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose so.
Although the stuff on Disney Life is not great. They don't have that much yet.
Really?
No, but Disney Life doesn't have any of the Marvel stuff. I mean, Disney has obviously got all Pixar, Star Wars. I've also have all the National Geographic content. They basically it looks like it's going to be amazing. I mean, I can't wait for it to come out over here on their day one. But I don't really want to have to wait.
Why don't they just shove that on Disney Life? That's what I don't get. It's so
they can't.
It's weird.
They can't because of all the licensing issues with it. I mean, that's what. That's the problem with why we can't get Disney Plus yet. Is because Sky have the rights to a whole load of content, and they've got to wait for it to expire.
Yeah, because Sky have the rights to Star Wars, haven't they? It's all over Sky Cinema at the moment.
But apparently they expire early next year, and that's when.
Oh, right, that'll be that then.
That'll be it.
Yeah. Can't wait for them stuff. For all the series. I mean, trailers look good, and I'm very excited to see what they do and how the quality is going to be. Really, it's a shame we have to wait.
Cool. Right. So Adrian carries on. I'd like to applaud Dave's stance on ignoring the certain section of haters when it came to The Last Jedi, Solo, etc. However, I think it's important to acknowledge that the world The Last Jedi and Solo were released into is significantly different from the one that Episode 7 released into. When The Force Awakens released, the world was a fairly simple place. Max Landis, brackets internet prick, said some stuff on YouTube about Rey being a Mary Sue, but people mostly ignored it and loved the movie. When Rogue One released, Trump was just taking office. Brexit had been voted for. The world was starting to splinter politically to where we are now. A number of those involved with Rogue One highlighted its message about fighting fascism. The usual edgy, anti-PC internet dicks didn't like this and started to harass those people. Simultaneously, the fandom started to experience the same things gaming had under Gamergate. People being racist or misogynistic arses because they felt the makers of Star Wars should keep their politics to themselves. Fast forward a year to The Last Jedi, and the internet had become further entrenched in its god-awful anti-SJW bullshit. Meanwhile, The Last Jedi was made by a liberal filmmaker who wore his politics on his sleeve. The usual pricks made viral videos about forced feminism and forced diversity, but integrated these complaints with more genuine criticisms of the movie. I think The Last Jedi is fucking brilliant, but it's not perfect. I can say its problems are not political. However, the downvoting, the one-star reviews, and the general arsehole behaviour, this all contributes to it feeling a lot more divisive than it really is. Every reliable measure, i.e. ones which check that people have actually seen the film, had 9 out of 10 people liking the film. That 10% left is still a significant number, but it by no means suggests that the film should be considered divisive. I'm rambling a bit, but my point is that The Last Jedi got viewed through the post-Brexit, post-Trump lens of the internet, where everything is seen as political when it isn't. Admiral Holdo has nothing to do with feminism. Kelly Marie Tran was not hired just because she's Asian. The film was not anti-capitalist just because it criticised the arms trade. Kathleen Kennedy is not excluding men from the franchise. Yet these things contribute massively in the online debate. Just have a look through the negative reviews. For every mention of something genuine, there'll be rants about forced politics and SJWs. Star Wars, unfortunately, has become a battleground for the internet politics of today. There's a forlorn hope that this will have ended by the time Episode 9 comes out. Thanks for a great pod. Sorry for the rambling, but scrambling to email this through on time.
Yeah, I mean, I see what you're saying. I also think that a big factor of this was the reaction to Ghostbusters film, because that came out before The Last Jedi, I think. So it's kind of a follow on of that rumbling hate and as I say,
have you seen that Ghostbusters film?
I've not actually. No,
it's fine. It's pretty funny.
Yeah, I've not actually gone around and watched it. I mean, the people that I know that have seen it have said that they were disappointed by it, but
okay.
And they're not those sort of people, but they just said it wasn't as funny as they were hoping. I'm already a big
Kristen Wiig fan, so maybe I was biased, but yeah,
all I'm saying, I mean, we said this on the calls quite a bit. So fuck those guys. I don't even want to talk about them. I know that's problematic in itself by saying, "Oh, you're just ignoring it" and all that sort of stuff, and I'm not.
When they're not legitimate criticisms, why give them the time?
Fuck them.
Yeah.
I think that pisses them off more than anything else. Just
debate
what's
me.
What's
debate that, me.
What's that, mate? You angry about this? Oh yeah, okay. Well, you crack on, be angry over there. The problem is that it turns into abuse, and then that's where it becomes.
I was going to say, like we're not the ones who get genuinely harassed about this stuff.
And I totally understand that. And whatever, but I just think fuck those guys.
The saddest thing is that I just see it's happening now for every Star Wars film. I feel like it's just that they've attach themselves to this series of films now, and I think that they're going to get that for every film. It's just it's not fair.
Well, look, I mean, it happens for everything. As I said to you guys this morning, I heard someone's complaining today that on a TV show that people are watching, that this person is watching, someone is about to die of cancer, and that's only happening because we've seen that character smoke. And because of the political correct world that we live in, we now have to see him get cancer. And I'm like, that's not political correctness. That's health. That's biology. That's smoking causes cancer. We've been aware of this for years. That's not just. That's
the politics around that is just whether or not you give a shit, or you think the government should intervene, or whatever. The actual fact that smoking kills people is not a political issue.
It's not about cause and effect anymore, is it? It's about my opinion, and so it's
yeah.
Yes, I don't want to be made to feel bad for smoking. So, okay.
I even think this person smokes. All right, nice one. That's it for the emails then. So, Matt, did we get any tweets?
Yeah, we've got a bunch of tweets, but I will say basically pretty much all of them have already been answered with the stuff we discussed. We did get one big question which was covered. A bunch of people tweeted us basically asking, there's one from Luke Summerhayes, friend of Bears, at Buscalilly, asking, will we get an episode for Rise of Skywalker? And also, how much do I have to pledge to Patreon to get a holiday special episode? But yeah, the Rise of Skywalker obviously is coming out. Rise of Skywalker is coming out on the 19th of December. So what are the plans for that?
There are no plans as of yet. So I don't know. All I'll say is keep subscribed, because you never know.
Keep it locked.
We might pull something off.
Yeah.
Keep it locked. I mean, I found out that the film comes out the day before Charlie's first birthday.
When you said that, because you said it clashed with Charlie's birthday, I was thinking, hang on, what's the date? 20th? Oh, fuck, it clashes with my work Christmas do, and also Mad Friday, being the last Friday before Christmas. But actually, it's the 19th. So, and actually, technically, you'll be able to watch it on the midnight of the 18th. But I always go on the actual first night proper.
Yeah, well, this is it. I said that. I said to Jo, don't worry, I'll just do it the week after. She was like, Christmas. I was like, oh, shit, yeah.
So 19th is. I'll definitely be seeing it then.
We're gonna have to sort something out, aren't we, James?
Definitely.
I mean, whether we record anything or not, I don't know. But getting to see that film together is probably what we should do. Also, the cinema near me is fucking banging, so you'll be blown away with that. It'll be good. All right, well, that's it then. Star Call's done. I'm sure James and I would like to extend a massive thank you to everyone that has been in contact with the show over the past few months. It's been quite special, hasn't it, James?
It's been incredible. I mean, I feel really privileged to have been involved with this, to be honest. It's been wonderful.
It's like the tweets have been amazing. There's been a hell of a lot of chatter over on the RLLM UK, which has blown us away. I've been getting text messages from friends and family that have never even heard me podcast before, but because they're Star Wars fans, they wanted to check this out, and they went on to really enjoy it. And so anyone that's contacted me in any way via forums or Twitter and whatever and said nice things, it really, really has been special. It's been so much fun to record with James. I love recording with him, and ultimately, I've come away. I've got out of this exactly what I wanted. I've come away excited for the next Star Wars film. And before we started recording, I could not give a shit that there was a new Star Wars film coming out. But now I feel like a full, like a proper fan, and I'm really excited for the next Star Wars film. And that's something that's a plus in my life. That's a positive in my life, and to get that from this is just extremely exciting. So yeah, thanks. And we, there are no plans to do another Calls series, but if the right idea comes about, then keep it locked on the computer game show. If you found this podcast and you haven't discovered the main show that this spawned from, the computer game show, then give that a little sub on your podcast player. Go check us out and what we do around computer games, video games, and stuff. Because that's where we'll be. And that's where you'll hear about the next series that we've got planned. Or haven't got planned currently.
Yeah.
Suppose that's the right way.
Yeah, I think it is.
We'll catch you later. Thanks for living it.
Thanks, everyone.
Goodbye.
Thanks.